Hello everyone, I am Punyakeerthi BL. Welcome to my Python for Generative AI learning series. In this series, we are focusing on Python basics that will help us to build a strong foundation for implementing generative AI concepts. If you feel this video is very good or useful, please subscribe to my channel. So let's dive in and start today's session. Today's topic is default arguments in Python functions. Let's simplify your functions like a pro. So let's start with introduction. In Python, functions are one of the most powerful building blocks of any program. They help you to organize your code, use logic, and make your programs easier to understand. One very useful feature of Python functions is default arguments. Default arguments allow you to give parameters a predefined value so that even if you don't pass anything for that parameter, the function can still run smoothly. So let's start with what are default arguments. A default argument is value that a parameter automatically takes if the caller of the function does not provide them. In other words, when you define function, you can assign a default or fallback value to some parameters. Then, when the function is called without that parameter, Python will use the default value. This feature makes your code more flexible since you don't always have to provide every argument, more readable since defaults are clear, and less repetitive since common values don't need to be passed each time. Let's understand with some example. Smart home lighting system. Let's say we are creating a smart home system that adjusts the lighting in different rooms. We might write a function like this. So this is the function. Let's understand what that function will do and just compile this one. So this is the definition of the function. The name of the function is adjust lighting. We have room and brightness. The value which we are passing is 75. So print adjusting lighting in room to brightness whatever value we are passing. Okay, let's compile this one and understand what all it is there. Here what's happening, the function adjust lighting has two parameters, one is room and another one is brightness. We have assigned a default value of 75 to brightness. What is that means, if the user provides only the room name, the brightness will automatically be set to 75%. If the user provides both room and brightness, the function will use the provided brightness value instead of default. Let's understand that with calling the function. So here adjust lighting I'm just passing the living room. So in the second call adjust lighting bedroom and we are passing the brightness as 50. Let's see different output. First adjusting lighting in living room to 75%. 75% is the default value which already set to brightness in our function. But in second call we are passing 50%, that 50% brightness taken from the value which we passed during the function call. So key takeaway, default arguments make certain parameters optional. They are not mandatory when calling the function. So let's go with important rule about default arguments. When defining a function, any parameter with a default value must appear after all parameters without defaults. If you try to place a non-default parameter after default one, Python will raise an error. So what is that error? Let's see. So I'm defining a function. Here we have the function adjust lighting. So room brightness is equal to 75, color temp. So the room and color temperature don't have any default value. So if I keep the brightness which has default value in between them, so it throws an exception. So parameter without a default value follows parameter with a default. So it throws an exception. This is one of the rule. Okay, to fix this, make sure all parameters after a default parameter also have default values. So this is what we are doing. So each and every values after default values. So room has don't have default value, but brightness and color have default value. Now you can compile, it will compile. So when we call, it will call. Now we can have this call from the function in different ways. So first way, second way, third way, what all we can see. So adjusting lighting, I'm just passing living room. So that is only we are passing living room. So that output we can see, then we can go for second output. So first output will be, default will be for room, living room, that we passed. So 75% brightness, that is the default value we set here. and warm color temperature. So warm is the temperature we have given. Next is we are passing bedroom and the brightness. Now the output will be like bedroom to 60%. 60% we passed, so warm temperature available. So now we are passing all the values like kitchen percentage will be 80, then cool temperature. So cool color temperature. In this way we can pass default values along with our whatever defined user defined values as well. This flexibility makes your functions much easier to work with, especially in real world applications where some parameters are optional. Why use default arguments? Default arguments are handy when you have commonly used parameter values. For example, brightness is equal to 75. You want to simplify function calls. You want to make your functions more robust and user friendly. They help you to avoid repetitive code and make your functions adaptable to many use cases. Let's wrap up with recap. In this lesson, we explored the concept of default arguments in Python. Here, here is what we learned. Default arguments allow parameters to have predefined values. They make parameters optional when calling functions. You can still override the default values by passing new arguments. Remember, all parameters with default values must come after those without defaults. By understanding and using default arguments, you can write cleaner, more flexible, and more efficient Python functions. So, thank you for watching today's session. This is part of Python for Generative AI learning series. I am Punyakeerthi BL. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to my channel for more videos. Also, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. The link is in the description. See you in the next session. Thank you very much.